12, and this is an EU morning time dailies. Birds are outside chirping on my stupid looking lemon tree, and I have just showered, I have just shaved, and I was brushing my teeth on air in preparation for this very moment, the 10 a.m. EU daily, where our Funday Monday topic will be the Planetary offensive. That is right. Once my neighbor moves his truck out of the driveway, which he does oh so loudly most mornings, we will find out that the topic is non-stop attacking, counterattacking, invading with the Planetary Fortress. Easy peasy done and cleany. Now, I'll just note that I cut it, like, really close today. I should also note that my neighbor is also a DJ. Who does like a lot of Latin music, and all Latin music has the following beat no matter what it is. This dum 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 dum. Like every single morning I get woken up by that. So it's an unbelievable way to begin the day with a lot of energy. Don't get to hear any melody, just that bass, etc. So I apologize for not being as well put together, but I'm not going to lie. This generally happens to me when I get up in the morning and I have somewhere to be early, like in a meeting or a class or a show. And I'm like, I'm going to do it right after I finish this last Reddit post. Just one more post on Reddit is all I'm going to read, and then I promise I will get it started. And I have had to drop out of so many classes, and I've just blown off whole careers because I needed to just finish a couple threads on Reddit. I looked at the time and I was like, wow, I guess I won't be that, right? I can't, seriously, all my future problems in life are all going to come down to that very issue. It's, dude, you didn't feed the cat, it's dead! And like, oh, dude, I'm sorry, I was wrong of me. I was on Reddit, I don't know, there were photos of cats on Reddit and I looked at those and I'm sorry, I won't happen again. Because we don't have another cat. So, God, I guess I better go on /r/emotional support. God, poor cat. Let's go ahead and hop into the Funday Monday topic of the day, where we will have two heroes, Onion Lamb, up in the top right, and Ellie. A very soft name. It looks like he's noting where he wants to be building planetary fortresses on the minimap. Dex, the enemy toss, and Mogilev hanging out. That's going to be beginning things quite normally. And, you know, I do want to note that this is the intro show, or excuse me, the intro game to today's show, where we're going to do our absolute best to get a sense of what the Funday Monday topic could entail. Keep in mind, this is a 2 versus 2. We have, you're not restricted necessarily from building anything. You just have to do a lot of planetary fortress aggressioning. So it looks like our good little probie friend from Dex is going to just be checking things out. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Nothing too absurd or shocking in any way. And it looks like Mogilev walling in Dex with the Cyber Core. All the chrono boosting. Things are going quite normally, especially when this planetary fortress gets thrown down. I think this is a pretty common thing that we see on the ladder. Someone who just says, nah, I don't want an orbital command. I'm just not going to have one of those. But oh, look at this. Onion Lamb and his ally are noting the prime rule of the 2v2. There's no reason not to just expand like 100 times unless we're at Masters level. Way up in the Masters, up in the clouds, where everybody only 2 gates and 5 racks Marines and 6 pools and 10 pools all in. Up there it's hard to expand, but anywhere else, expand as much as possible, because either one of two things is going to happen. One, you're just going to have way more stuff than him and you're just going to win. 2, they attack you, but they're so bad they can't quite finish you. So you're playing musical command centers like, oh, I'll expand over here, and you land and you mine like 400 minerals, whoa, and you go over here, and then you mine a couple minerals over here, and eventually you wear them down because they're still on a base. It's so great. I love it. It was my technique in 2v2v2v2s on Big Game Hunters Infinite Money Maps. Excellent. So, Ailey, Onion Lamb and Ailey. Going to be blocking off the front ramp. Per usual, we have just some random amalgamation of early gateways of Twilight Council, because when behind Dark Shrine, no reason not to do that at any point in time. Looks like Magalev still is going to be avoiding the planetary fort, or excuse me, the orbital command. Onion Lamb will be a planetary fortress hero in this game. Now it's time to open up the production tab, not just because it provides vital information, but because in the larger team games that we see, it essentially becomes a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. And who doesn't love reading spreadsheets at this early hour in the morning? And it looks like Dex will be following up with Speed Zealots for his 2 Zealots. Onion Lamb getting ready. Oh yes, look at this planetary defense. I like that. So guys, I got a joke for you, alright? So a zealot walks into a bar and says, "My wife for hire!" And the bartender says, "Does she charge a lot?" You know, that begins in a very heinous direction and just sort of returns to Sean. You know, I think that StarCraft puns need to have a little bit more exploration. Because there's a lot of space there. I think there's a lot of room for exploration. So it looks like Ailey going to be going tanks. Tank Planetary, a very potent mixture. Onion Lamb going expand, expand, expand. Also a potent mixture. In that army tab, this is always an important thing to note. This is the look that you want for a successful 2v2 team. The no army, but in this income tab, aw yeah, you want to be a straight thuggin' word up baller. I'm going to close my window because if there's one sound effect I don't like in the daily, it's Diesel. Isn't that going to be fun? Hey guys, welcome to the day night. Oh, it's so much quieter. And let me make sure that I have all the blinds shut, because if there's one thing I don't like, it's the sun, right? Who fucking wants the sun when I could just be inside in front of the reassuring blue light of my monitors? Oh, I'm so glad to be home. Seriously, man. Sometimes it's like 3 in the afternoon, and I just want to fast forward to 7, because that whole time in between is just not really my thing at all. That's when mothers are out, like, picking up their children, and people are, like, getting haircuts. Pff, screw that. Great. Excellent. So it looks like Ailey and Onion Lamb will be beginning the Planetary Fortress establishment. Now, Mogilev has an orbital command, excellent, has begun muling, has that missile turret for what have you, is getting the +1 vehicle plating for this Thor, and oh no, the defense is set up at the front. The defense is set up at the front! Onion Lamb. Not looking to be in too good of a position. Right now, everything's looking pretty much quite ordinary. Many bases being taken. But when this is the only defense that you have at the backside, it's going to be pretty difficult. Dex is going to be swinging right on in the single Thor, because why not? And oh no. Oh. Ailey. The only person who was able to defend that left side, no doubt being blamed profusely. And of course, another critical technique in any sort of 2v2 is to have that blame and excuse thing set up properly. Pfft, your race is bullshit. That's kind of standard, but now that you have an ally, it's always good at the end not to talk to your ally, but to say to the other people, "This guy sucked." He's in the room, man. He can hear everything you're saying. It's a lot like when you're 16 and your mother still talks about you like you're not there. Well, I mean, Sean has really been struggling a lot in his English classes, but, you know, I think that, I mean, there's colleges that will accept students with C's, and I'm like, Mom, I'm here, and why are you telling the cashier at the grocery store? This is personal, Mom. Oh, Sean, stop. Don't worry, he has a little bit of a temper sometimes. Mom! Dex following up his complete hollowing out of the base with an expand down in the bottom right. Mogilev eliminating all those key structures. The Sentry with their tickle beams are just making this orbital command titter its way into total annihilation, where it will indeed leave behind a hairdryer. And now, we're in a little bit of an awkward spot. Onion Lamb has what we call the Trust Fund for StarCraft 2. Has a little bit of planetary backup, just enough to sort of abate the offensive. And we haven't really seen too much from our heroic combo, Onion Lamb and Ailey. Continuing to push through the front, but don't worry, there's a planetary fortress there ready to defend. And now Onion Lamb realizes that it's time to kick into action. He will not be pressured anymore. It is time to build the Command Center Armada. Now this is where we do something that 24 does. We go to the reverse perspective. Because there is indeed drama going on in the enemy front. Now, note that this is actually a complete wall-off. They actually literally can't get out. Let me just note some of the interesting aspects that happen when we do that sort of wall-off. Actually, hell, we'll have to come back to the 1350 mark, where we will see Dex. Yeah, Dex, you see this worker train? He wants to transfer him here. Literally, I could box and click there. But let us begin the longest journey at times 2 speed. There's the entrance. We're going to have to go all the way around. And of course, in the later seasons of 24, they really were looking for some filler, so they wouldn't be above just watching the terrorist travel from A to B in the car, discussing music in that Quentin Tarantino style. And it looks like about a full minute later, we got a base going. Excellent, Dex. Looking so good. Now, if I am either Dex or Magaleb, I'm looking at this mini-map and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, alright, taking more bases, crushing more faces. Things are going to be pretty comfortable. And there's not really too much to worry about. We're just building up, and we look at the mini-map. We've taken a large ice cream scooper to the back of the base, and then all of a sudden, you find out that Thors are not really good at taking down flying planetary fortresses. Blue Flame Hellion's kind of here, but the Jack Bauer fleet of planetary fortresses, starting to get morphin', and the target fire is beginning. Onion Lamb not going to be given up anytime soon, but it looks like the surprise assault, the SCV train, trying to get the repair on, and it gets done! Excellent, we now have 4 planetary fortresses. Hollowing out that center of the map, the SCVs are going to try to do their best to repair, but with team target fire going, the Phoenixes continuing to be constructed for any reason at all. The pair of siege tanks at the back, and it looks like a little bit of damage has been dealt. 4 Zealots now morphing in, not going to be enough. And it's a good thing we built those Phoenixes to deter continued assaults of flying buildings. And this is going to be one of the most charming things I've ever seen. This is actually the premise for Dragon Ball Z. Right here. Here it comes. Continuing to charge up. Vegeta! The planetary fortress is almost complete. That is my Batman style. Looks like it's Dex picking off a couple SCVs at a time, but the majority are down here. Onion Lamb. Looks like if we return back to the primary cam, we see Vegeta. Plenty of units coming out for the Thors. A little bit of base trading going on. And this is where Onion Lamb gets so excited. He's just like, sorry, Day 9 made me do it. The happy winner. Few things are more frustrating in any game than when your opponent wins happy. Onion Lamb bringing the pain. Doesn't even have time to space it out. Sorry, Day 9 made me do it. And that I did. Hashtag it on Twitter. I want to be trending. Happy Monday, says Onion Lamb. His opponents don't know whether he's genuine or facetious, but certainly Onion Lamb is finally feeling a sigh of relief as his planetary fortress offensive was just enough to win his team the game. And per usual, a couple Blue Flame Hellions there, can't possibly hurt. Auto repair, SCVs, and this little weird neck that was designed for counterattacks. This was really designed for first-time players who just didn't know that you could fit units through there, so they end up losing the 2v2 for basically no reason. The turret planetary fortress pushing, gonna be enough. And the skill rays don't quite close out the game. Etc., etc., etc. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the grand introduction, feeling like the day of the attacking buildings. We call it the Planetary Offensive. We have just seen the intro game to today's Funday Monday, where we learned that planetary fortresses are not all that bad. Before we go on to the break, I wanted to just show the kinds of dedication that people did with this planetary fortress attack style gameplay. Let's go ahead and see some of the more creative solutions. We have Zanzaben and Kleinzak against Gadog and Jarok. Now, both of them doing for the glory of day 9. That's great. I mean, I certainly feel glorious. I was brushing my teeth on air, a sign of true glory. Excellent. Come on, let's resume. Kleinzak now looks like going for the fairly unusual 6 refinery, also from Zanzaben going 6 refinery, both continuing to build some number of SCVs, now rallying in 3 in the geyser, it looks like, for both of them. As they are just carefully, cautiously collecting, doing not much else. But once 150 is achieved, oh yes, it's time for the invasion. In the meanwhile, it looks like Gadog getting ready to do some sort of defense with cannons. Gadog. I'm sure that's Georgia Dog, but not on the daily, it isn't. It's Gadog. Uh-oh, supply depot being assaulted from the other side. A Marine pops out, the SCVs die. They do not care. It looks like Zanzaben getting ready to planetary. Kleinzak also doing a little bit of planetary action himself. What can you do when this is happening? Seriously, what do you do? I also love how both players actually hid their engineering bays across the map just to ensure that there would be no scouting of this strategy, which of course would be really easy to scout because you'd get in there and you'd see a refinery and nothing else. In fact, did they end up doing the scouting? Oh no, alas. The bases were brought to them. I'm pretty sure they're going planetary. And for any of you who didn't know, you can actually load up units into the planetary fortress. So if it's under attack, you can just load it in, pop it out, do some repairing, and then the SCVs start getting attacked. Yeah, a little bit of base sharing going on. One player copying the other player's homework. And Kleinzak doing quite well. 22, 23 kills, the majority of them probes. And if we look at that income tab, we actually see that our hero players at the top are doing pretty well, with a slightly superior economy. The players have left the game, Zanzaben happily celebrating by mining a little bit more before departing himself. Planetary is indeed a very effective offensive technique early game. So that wraps up part 1, Funday Monday. We're going to head on to part 2, where we will get the chance to see planetary offensive action used in a 4v4. Good morning, Europe. Good evening, America. And what the hell are you doing up, Australia? We'll be back in 5.